Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for joining us this afternoon. This afternoon, we are going to talk about the situation in Nigeria. A lot of people are profiling solution to the situation in Nigeria. Some said that if we remain in one Nigeria, that would be better for us. Why we fight for leadership change, that we want better leadership. Some believe that the political change is not the hope of the people, that if we change politically, that will not help us. So a lot of people have different things to say about the political leadership in Nigeria and so on and so forth. Here is Clavis Johnson. He's a professor of mathematics. He's saying that the political regime change is not the hope of the people. That maybe we think that when we bring another leader who is better in the position of authority in Nigeria, that maybe that will make Nigeria to be better. That will not happen, because he said there is a system problem coupled with the allegiance of our political leaders in power with the West. That way the West controls Nigeria, and these people have the ulterior motive why they assume office there. He went on to say that some persons might be a good person before entering the position of leadership, but once they assume office, they are no longer whom they are. So we are going to go through all these things and ask him a lot of questions. But he is saying that he don't believe that going for another election will change Nigeria, that Nigeria needs another system totally. So before we go into, interviewing him and hearing from him, there is something that the former presidential candidate of the Labour Party, Mr. Obi, said when he was campaigning. That when he was going to different countries, people were telling him that if you can agree with us that when you become president, this is the way you are going to behave, this is the way you are going to behave, then we can help you to becoming the president. We can fund your campaign. Let's listen to what P2B said before we invite Clavis to talk to us about his idea.
But we have leaders who don't want that, because those people you're calling are using those leaders. It will shock you. I was campaigning to be president of Nigeria. I'm going to tell my story around my book one. People are inviting you. Oh, we want to see you in different capitals of the world. And you go there, people say to you, we're going to put in this amount of money in your campaign, but this is going to happen, that is going to happen. I say, wait a minute, you're talking about my country. You can't do that. Why are we going to be going to United Nations to complain or beg about what God has given to us? Our seas, our waters, our oceans are being occupied, and all the resources there are going to foreigners. Why are we not going to United Nations to complain about foreigners in our territory? But they have leaders who don't want that, because those people you're calling are using those leaders. It will shock you. I was campaigning to be president of Nigeria.
Oh my.
That was Mr. Peter Obi, the presidential candidate, former of the Labour Party. Labour Party is a political party in Nigeria. So P2B was saying, you heard him clear, there is no need to explain what P2B was saying. People were calling him and asking and telling him that, let us support your campaign. Let's make you to be this place that you want to be. But when you become president, this is what we are going to do. This is what you are going to do. And that was confirmed when Tinubu becomes president. You saw Brigade coming, you saw this one coming. And in the words of Professor P.O. Lumumba, he explained that further. Let's take a look at this video a little bit before we come back to Clavis.
We'll elect our governors. We'll have our ministers. That will happen, but they are not bothered. After we have elected them, you'll then see them sending their arrows ahead. You'll see Bill Gates come and meet your president. You'll see Tony Blair come and meet your president. You'll see Macron come and meet your president. You'll see all of them. And then they will never admit, but they'll be told, if you want money in agriculture, behave this way. If you want money in this area, behave this way. They will never tell that to the Chinese. They will never tell that to the Indians. They will.
Well, we are going to come to the full details of the video. But for now, Clavis Johnson, I really want to ask you, what is your conviction for you to say that political regime change, and let me explain what political regime change is in case some people don't comprehend what that means. It means when we go to next election to vote for, maybe we think about this person will become a better candidate to vote for the person. You are saying that a political regime change is not the hope of the people because it is not going to work at all. So you have the microphone on the floor. Tell us your idea and what you think about this.
Thank you, Mr. Okocha. You know, as an African, first of all, I'm really concerned about the videos you just played right now. Listening to those prominent leaders.
The video from P2B or the video from Professor Lumumba. Which of the video?
I'm talking about it too. I'm talking about it too, from the prominent leader, Mr. Obi, and the scholar, Mr. Lumumba. Touching the point from the roots, as I've been talking about all the way from our previous interviews. You know, we are talking about the West calling our leaders, you know, trying to make offers to them that if you want this, you do this way. If you want this position, you know, you do this, and then we'll help you win the election. That's what Mr. Obi said. We'll help you win the election. Now, here is the question we have to ask ourselves. How is that possible for them to help him win the elections while it is us voting? It's like they are telling him that, you know, they will make me sing for him if he accepts their deal. So how will they make me sing for him if he accepts their deal? Will they open my mouth to sing for him?
Wait a minute.
Will they push me to vote for him? Even if it's not a good candidate. So,
I want to get your question.
Let me finish. That is already saying that the electorate is not under our control. We don't control the vote. It's easy to understand the narrative of what is coming out from Mr. Obi's expressions. We don't control the vote. We don't vote for presidents in Africa. As from what Mr. Lumumba was saying, that when we elect them, no, we don't elect them. We don't. The West is too confident because they know that we don't elect. If it's only about us Africans suffering, you know, facing impoverishment, facing joblessness, facing all the challenges, if it's only about us, we'll make the right choice of the right leader to lead our countries. But how can you explain that to the very same people suffering in African countries, when comes the elections, we still vote for a leader who will make us suffer? Are we stupid? Are we that stupid? I don't think so. We have brains, you know. We've been at school, even if we didn't go to school, but sometimes, you know, at home we've been lectured by our wise men in our villages. At least, you know, back then life was this, you know, it was much easier than today. You know, at least people are being lectured in a way or the other. So we won't be that stupid to go and vote for the same person who's killing us, who's stealing from us. You know, the moment we vote for the same leader, you know, like in other African countries, the same leader changing the constitution and still win the vote. How can you explain that? If it's not the fact that the electorate is not under our control, we don't vote, we don't elect. If it was just the fact that we were voting and we're electing, we wouldn't vote for these funny leaders we have in Africa. To you, Mr. Okocha.
Now, I really want to get the question clearly. You asked a question that you are explaining yourself. You said if Mr. P2B in his video was caught saying that some foreign countries were on his neck, asking him that we can render help to you to become victorious. But if you win this election, this and that is what we want from you. And P2B said, are you talking about my country? You will come and control my country and tell me how to rule? And he disagreed with them. Now you are asking a question that, what gives these people power to tell P2B that they can help him to win? They don't vote. They don't participate in the vote. So you are saying, does that mean that these people are the one deciding the leaders for us that we don't vote? That is where I want you to explain better.
Of course, Mr. Okocha. In our previous video, I already told you that the presidency is against the people. It's not established to serve the people. The presidency is the colonial office. And I already say in our previous video before this one, I'm saying that democracy is another name of colonialism, you see? So they came to Mr. Obi and suggested that to him. Perhaps he was popular. Perhaps he was the most loved leader during the elections. So they wanted like to back him and they, to push him forward. But they didn't want their interest to be threatened. So they came and suggested something. Then he didn't agree with them. And what happened? He lost the elections. He lost it. So why he didn't go on winning despite the fact that he opposed or rejected their offers? Why he didn't go on winning? It's simply because the presidency does not belong to the people. So for you to go there, you're not elected. You are nominated. You are promoted there. So you must do the will of the honor of the presidency. That's it. And when you look at the history of the presidency, how was it established in our countries? What was there before the presidency? It was the colonial office. So the colonial office is the translation of what we have today as the presidency. It's easy to understand that whoever is serving there must have the colonial mind. He must have the colonist attitude. So when you come there for the love of the people, wanting to serve the people, you will never be promoted to that promotion. Never. Or it's for that matter as well, when people are out there campaigning, making noise, giving all these nice promises to the people that we'll do this, we'll do that. But once they elected over there, the narrative changes. That's the case in Senegal. You can see what is going on there. It's not the same thing. Mark my word, Senegal will spend the next 5 years without any change. It's just the change of new faces, but under the same political system. And talking about the political system, that is where I want Nigeria to be. We are protesting for what? For the change of leadership, for the change of the regime, or for the change of the political system? That is the question we have to ask ourselves as Nigerian protesters.
Anyway, I really want for people who are joining us now, I want them to listen to what P2B said in his video.
But they have leaders who don't want that. Because those people you're calling are using those leaders. It will shock you. I was campaigning to be president of Nigeria. I'm going to tell my story around my book one. People are inviting you, we want to see you in different capitals of the world. And you go there, people say to you, we're going to put in this amount of money in your campaign, but this is going to happen, that is going to happen. I say, wait a minute, you're talking about my country. You can't do that. Why are we going to be going to United Nations to complain or beg about what God has given to us? Our seas, our waters, our oceans are being occupied, and all the resources there are going to foreigners. Why are we not going to United Nations to complain about foreigners in our territory? But they have leaders who don't want that. Because those people you're calling.
Yeah, that was from Mr. P2B, and that is the context of what you are saying. So when P2B made this statement, for me, I did not take much study to what he was saying. So when you are making your own contribution to the situation we are having, I started thinking about this, that could it be the cause that a presidential candidate of Nigeria was campaigning for an office and foreign countries were calling him, if you want us to help you, you will win this election. But this is what you are going to do. This is what you are going to do. This, and that. And you are here telling us that political regime change is not the hope of the people. But some persons are also saying that, what about if we have a good leader in that position? What do you have to say about that?
Oh, okay. I really understand the concern of the people, but talking about a good leader in that position, I would like my African brothers, black like me, black and proud, to understand that when you are a good African leader, you are not eligible to lead from the presidency. That is what we have to put in our mind.
Wait a minute. If you are a good leader, you are not allowed to lead.
You are not eligible. You are not eligible because the elections is decided. way before we go on voting, they already know who should take over. They already know that. As Mr. Obi is saying here.
Clavis, are you saying that if you are a good person from Nigeria, that you are not eligible to lead, you are not allowed to become president?
But how would you manage to win? First of all, because the electorate is not in your hands. And if ever you manage, perhaps because of the population behind you, or perhaps you didn't have the chance to organize their electoral fraud, the moment you get there, then they will come behind you, behind closed door, then do this, do that. If you don't, then you'll face humiliation. If you don't face humiliation by means of taking you out of power, you can face death. You can face death. They can still kill you.
All right, Clavis, the Vice President of Nigeria, Kashim Shettima, during the campaign, people were asking him, why is it that your party did not pick Professor Yemi Osibanjo, who was coming out for president in APC? Professor Yemi Osibanjo was the vice president to Muhammadu Buhari. This man, people perceive him to be a good person. You know the response of the Kashim Shettima, the current vice president? He said Osibanjo is a good man. People like him supposed to be selling ice cream. Wait, what you are saying is taking me back to the memory that someone who is aspiring to become a vice president is saying that the former vice president is too good to become president, that he should be selling ice cream. Then the question I'm throwing to you at this moment is, why is it that they don't allow good people to lead?
Oh yeah, because in our previous interviews, Mr. Okocha said that African countries are just like farms, of which the farmer is the president, and you have to look after the livestock of the colonies. Livestock being like the way they regard us as black people, meaningless, low lives, all those kind of things, however they treat us, but even though we don't like that. I don't see myself as whatsoever they always put in the narratives. I'm an African, black and proud, that's it. So we're here looking for solutions for whatsoever challenges we face in Africa. So it doesn't matter which country is concerned. What matters is to put our brain together and then see how we can go forward. We're talking about this good man. That answer is just saying in another way that we don't want that good man to go and face humiliation or even death. Should he get there, out of his goodwill to help the people, and if he tries to do that, they will come after him, because the more you help the people, which means we have to put more resources in the benefit of the people. So when you put in more resources, so what are they going to get? What are they going to get? Just imagine the resources of Nigeria, all of it, all of them being put in favor of the people. So what will be left for the colonist actually to steal? What will be left for him? Nothing at all. And by doing that, the narrative of third world countries will change, but that has to be there. So if you come with a good heart and you expect to lead from the presidency, I'm saying that you're wasting your time. There will be only two ways out. Either you'll face humiliation, in the end of your term, or you'll just perhaps be unfortunate to even face death. That's the situation, because the presidency is the most darkest administrative area in African countries.
Now, Clavis, I want to ask you this question, and I want direct and a little bit explanation. I want a direct answer. Now, we are talking about what P2B said, what Professor Lumumba said, what Vice President of Nigeria said. Everything boils down to that there is another entity controlling Nigeria presidency entirely. Now,
not only Nigeria, all the presidencies in Africa, like African countries.
All presidencies in Africa. Because who are they? Who are they specifically? Because we cannot say the West. The West are many. Like when you are saying Africans, I am an African, you are an African. So when we're talking about the West, who, in quotes?
Oh, in the context of Nigeria, we will just it's easy to understand. You are a citizen of a certain country. That is, first of all, a fake citizenship. you've been falsely named as a citizen of Nigeria because Nigeria does not exist. Nigeria is just the dream of the colonists. So when I'm talking about the dream of the colonists,
why do you say Nigeria does not exist? Why do you say Nigeria does not exist?
African countries as such are just colonist dreams. They created them, they founded them. So which means there were these kind of countries existing before these countries here we're having. There were these kind of borders existing before these borders here we're having. So if I came with my pencil and my paper, I drew a sort of a landmark saying that this is my share of me, and I call that as my dream as Nigeria. Then the people there should be Nigerians. But when you look at yourself, you will say that you are a Nigerian. But deep into yourself, you still say, I'm a Yoruba. So what is your citizenship actually, if I have to ask you properly? What is your citizenship, a Nigerian or a Yoruba as such? That's the question we have to ask ourselves. So Nigeria as a country does not exist. It's just a colonist dream, that was gotten, a dream that they dreamed out of great, and then that's it. Here we are, we call ourselves Nigerian, we call ourselves Congolese, call ourselves Senegalese, but we are falsely calling ourselves that way. That's why they don't respect us. However, we go out there, they don't respect us. They don't respect us that way. So that's it. So Nigeria as such does not exist. So if you want to come there and solve with a good heart, you're wasting your time.
All right, Nigeria
and wasting the time of the people as well.
Okay, Nigeria and other African countries have been having, challenges in their political arena. And most of the people did not understand what I am experiencing. I've discovered that since the new democratic regime we have in Nigeria, that is 1999 up to today.
Why should we call it a democratic regime? Because democracy does not exist in Africa. We don't have democracy. They're just putting lies in our minds. We don't have that.
All right.
How can you call it democracy when people go out there protesting for democracy and they're still being beaten or shot at in the name of democracy? So I don't know, Mr. Okocha. It pains me when I hear that. Democratically elected, democratic regime. No. I don't take those.
Okay. All right. Let me put the explanation in this way: that from Obasanjo to Yar'Adua to Buhari to Goodluck Jonathan to this Tinubu, I am seeing retrogression in the sense that Obasanjo was better than Yar'Adua. Yar'Adua was better than Jonathan. Jonathan was better than Buhari. And Buhari is not better than Tinubu. Things is just going down, drastically down.
Which means the one after Tinubu will be worse than Tinubu. That's it. That's my addition.
There is a tendency that if Nigeria remains like this in 2027, no matter who enters there, the person might be worse or will be worse than Tinubu. Not because the person is a bad person. Not because the person is a bad person, but there is a system error. Now, there is one of my friends that sent me a voice note. I really want you to look at the voice note critically. I want you to look at the voice note and tell me that if this person is right or wrong. Let's take just 7 minutes to listen to what he said.
Yeah,
he's talking about why people should not talk about secession, why people should not talk about anything. That only thing we need is just good leader or good leadership. Let's first of all listen to him, why you will react to what he said.
Yeah.
Hello, good morning, my brother. How are you?
Yeah.
First and foremost, I must applaud you for what you're doing on YouTube. Every country needs individuals like you at a time in its existence. So, having said so, I would like to speak about the last episode I watched of you concerning the protest. And I listened to quite a number of the comments and speakers that called and the conversation that ensued. My name is Magnus, by the way, and I am from the northeast part of Nigeria, Adamawa State to be precise. I would like to start our conversation by presenting posers questions that we can talk about, we can answer and deliberate over. I believe those questions will shed more light on the subject matter. So, I hear people toe the line of tribalism, let Nigeria divide, Hausa Fulani this, Igbo that, Oduduwa this, Biafra that. And each time I hear comments along this line, I feel very disappointed. Why? One pertinent problem with Nigeria and Nigerians is that for some reason, with all our intellect, we always find it very difficult to identify our actual problems and provide solutions to it. Why do I say so? Let us assume that we get Biafra today. We get Oduduwa, we get Iowa. What next? Is it the same crop of leaders that you're having in the southeast that cannot build a road? Is it those same guys that will preside over you? Now, the entire South-South region, just one state in the South-South can actually pay the monthly allocation for many of the states in the North. What do the leaders do with the money? Or have the leaders been coming from the North? Have they been?
Now,
is it River State Governor? Is it one Mohammed Abdullahi?
I hope you are hearing.
What have they been doing?
The sound is not so clear, but
by now, at least one state in the South-South should have been a little Dubai.
Now,
is there any? No. This democracy.
Could you elaborate further about that? Because
yeah, I want to explain what the guy was saying.
Yeah.
He said that the states in the south, in the southwest, in the southeast, that they are having much revenue from oil because they are oil producing area, crude oil producing areas. That one state can fund 3 states in the northern part of the country. Now, the question he's asking is, why is it that that state is not like Dubai? So if we still divide, for example, divide Nigeria or change to regional government, that the same people will still be mismanaging the funds of the people. But maybe he fails to realize that the people are not the real people there. What do you have to say about that?
Mr. Okocha, you were asking who are the people actually, above our leadership position, like from the presidency. I was just about to answer that question. That's to say that the person who got a dream about Nigeria is the owner of the presidency. He's the one having the final word about who should sit in the presidency and lead from there. So here we're talking about resources from that state, as this brother was saying this message.
Yeah,
Mr. Okocha, if I'm the owner of the farm, so what do you think all that belongs to that farm could be controlled by who exactly? By me or by the person I put as a farmer to look after what belongs there?
I think by the owner of the farmer who keeps on borrowing Nigeria money that he knows that they cannot pay, so that they will take hold of their resources through paying back.
But that's it. But when you look at that money as well, is it really the money coming from them, or is Nigerian stolen money being given back to Nigerians as well? Because when you talk about this aid to African countries, this country here from outside Africa, giving millions in aid to a certain African country, where is that money coming from? Is it really coming from those countries, or is African money being given back to Africans again? So that's the question. I believe that is African money being given back to Africans. We don't have to go far about this, because if someone doesn't want you to have money in your pocket, let's just take a simple life example. If I don't want you to have even 10 naira in your pocket, do you think in your time of need I can give you more than that? I don't think so. If they don't want us to be free in Africa, if they don't want us to have jobs, if they don't want us to be rich in Africa, do you think in times of need they can give us more than that? No. It is our own money taken from us, stolen from us, from our resources that they're giving back to us so that we can pay it back with interest. That's the situation right there. So I'm not surprised that that state is rich, but it's not like Dubai, because whatever it's producing does not belong to that state. It belongs to the person who got a dream about Nigeria, to whom those resources belong, and whoever should lead Nigeria must be in their favor. That's why Mr. Peter Obi was saying this in his video. It's easy to understand that political regime change is not the hope of the people. It's not.
All right, let me take you to this context. Nigeria is an oil-producing country. We have 3 refineries from the government-owned refineries, Warri, Port Harcourt, and Kaduna. We have state-owned refineries. We have private refineries like that of Aliko Dangote, one of the largest in Africa. But none of them is functioning well. And we still import fuel from abroad. What sort of corruption is this? Could this be linked to what you are saying about this?
Of course, because from what you are saying, I just, something just came in my mind is to ask, what is the state in the first place? What is the state in Africa? The state is not what we keep believing, what we keep reading, state of Nigeria. That is not the state as we think. The African country does not exist. If the African country does not exist, then the context of the state is a falsity. It does not exist as well. So they just put it in our mind that, I'm from this state here, I'm doing, but the state does not exist. So whatever belongs to the state does not exist as such. It does not.
A lot of people will ask you, it's time we stop complaining and do something. How many years are we going to complain that this Africa doesn't belong to us? How can we change the fact? But before you answer that question, I want us to take a break by hearing from Professor P.O. Lumumba. Let's listen to him. While we come back, you will answer, how do we go about this? Okay? So let's listen to what the Professor P.O.
We'll have our ministers. That will happen, but they are not bothered. After we have elected them, you'll then see them sending their arrows ahead. You'll see Bill Gates come and meet your president. You'll see Tony Blair come and meet your president. You'll see Macron come and meet your president. You'll see all of them. And then they will never admit, but they'll be told, if you want money in agriculture, behave this way. If you want money in this area, behave this way. They will never tell that to the Chinese. They will never tell that to the Indians. They will never tell that to the Vietnamese. They will never tell that to the Koreans. But in Africa, they tell us. That is why, as I speak to you now, under this new scramble, the IMF and the World Bank are back, telling you who to hire in your universities, what to sell and what not to sell. It is a sad situation. So today, as I look at Africa in that new scramble, the Chinese are here. I hope that this institution was not built by the Chinese. The Turks are here. The British are here. The French are here. The Qataris are here. The Americans are here. This time round, they are so subtle that we don't even recognize them, but they control us. What are we going to do about it in order to develop? We must do something. And if we don't do that thing else, you who have been trained in this institution, you have traveled the world. You have traveled Nigeria. There are two things that you can do with your traveling. You can marvel. Says it is great in China. You can marvel. You can wonder or feel pain. I'm urging you to feel pain. To feel pain for the continent of Africa, and in your own way, when you go out there, go and do something about it, because it has also been demonstrated that it can be done. I've traveled across this continent and I've seen that development is possible. And I'm saying this, part of my agenda is to prick your conscience with live examples, that you may go out there irritated, but irritated to do the right thing. And I'm suggesting that indeed, when we talk about development, this is what we must do. But is Africa conscious of her state? Yes, Africa is conscious. This is what makes me happy. That after all these analysis, it appears to me that Africans have now recognized that going forward, we can only defeat the conspiracies, we can only have development as we are talking about it by working as a team. Africa must begin to think, even as we think of Africa Agenda 2063, because energy is the game changer. Without energy, all these generators you see everywhere in Nigeria must disappear for industrialization to come. And in many African countries, including...
Why is Professor Lumumba talking about Nigeria, or the whole generator in Nigeria have to disappear? Oh my God. I think he should have talked without calling my country. But anyway, here you are. The question is on your table. What should we do? Because it seems that people are saying, we are complaining too much. We are complaining about all these things too much. What are we going to do? So I want you to tell us what you think about the solution to all these things.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Okocha. In this book, as it is mentioned on the screen, Afro-Democracy, the New African Order, there are no complaints in that book. We have solutions in there. And when talking about solutions, it's painful. It's painful, but, whatever we get through pain must be sustainable. So, we have to go through pain. Talking about the solution, as Mr. Lumumba was saying right here, that development it's possible. It's possible, but I'm adding to that it's only possible if we change the political system, because the political system we have in our countries was set to impoverish us. So if it was set to impoverish us, even if we come with ideas about development, we'll never go forward with that, because we'll be developing those ideas in an environment, in a systematic environment that is set to make us poor. No, so that's the situation there. So if we have to talk about development, we have to change the political system. I keep saying that. In all Black African countries, the political system we have there is colonial. And the colonist is so comfortable in the way that he left. But behind him remained his system. And the system is stronger. The system is bigger. It doesn't matter how many people you are. Let's look at Chinese. How many are there in their country? But what is controlling all that big population, if I have to put it that way? What is controlling them? It is the national system. So the system doesn't matter whether you are a country of 200 million people. The system doesn't care about that. Regardless the number you are, if you are under a system that is said to make you poor, you will still be impoverished no matter what. So if we want to talk about development in Africa, first of all, we must change the political system. And by changing the political system, I don't hide it. Me, personally, I'm not in the favor of the presidency, because the presidency represents the colonists in our countries. The presidency represents the colonists in our countries. When you look at the presidency, look at the settler behind a white man who's called the black president, like in the case of Nigeria, Mr. Tinubu. It's not him. If it's just about himself, he will stop that protest a long time ago. But because there's a master behind him who doesn't care about the people, considering that they are black and then they don't matter whatsoever. So what is it that Mr. Tinubu can do? But I believe that deep inside himself, he's crying as a black man, as a black father. I believe that.
All right. Before I will take you to what is going on in ECOWAS that concerns Nigeria and Tinubu, the president of Nigeria, I want to tell our viewers, we are talking about the political situation in Nigeria. And here is Professor Clavis, a professor of mathematics, coming to tell us that political regime change cannot work in Africa, that if we are thinking that next election is going to change anything, that next election is not going to change anything in Nigeria, that unless the system is changed, a system where the West don't impose leadership on us, don't manipulate leadership on us. And as we were talking about this, since we were revisiting what P2B said during campaign, that while he was traveling, so many parts of the world, the West, they were calling him and telling him, We can help you get your ambition to becoming a president of Nigeria. But this and that are the things you have to do when you become president. And he declined the offer because he meant well for his people. In other words, directly, that is also the same thing that will be likely, wired to other candidates who would accept that, in quotes, because they want to be the president. Now, I want to ask you a question. About some months ago, Ibrahim Traore of Burkina Faso, that of Niger, and his Malian counterpart, they pulled out from ECOWAS. They said the purpose of ECOWAS is to resist the Western influence in the West African countries and unite together to achieve economic and security goals among member states. They said Tinubu is the Western puppet. That because Tinubu is he's swearing allegiance to the West are controlling him, telling him what to do, especially when Niger coup happens, they ask Tinubu go and carry out military intervention. It took the intervention of the masses in Africa to stop Tinubu. And here are they. They are saying that we are no longer members of ECOWAS because we don't want the West to control us. How is the West controlling ECOWAS, Professor Clavis?
Well, Mr. Okocha, this is so interesting in the way that, if I'm allowed, I would like to highlight the level of colonialism we have in Africa. We have the level of colonialism in the presidential level. That is the first level. The second level of colonialism is at regional levels, like ECOWAS. The third level of colonialism at continental level, like African Union. All those are colonial entities to press us down as third worldly. So
how are they?
But if we escape the presidency, they will catch us at the regional level. Like Mr. Traore and his Malian counterpart trying to escape, the control within the presidency by cutting all the ties with the colonies. Now, somewhere they try to resist, but they failed. But they had this trust that we will meet them at the regional level. That is ECOWAS. So when they'll be there, there'll be this kind of sanctions, all those kind of things, It is the way of trying to suffocate us. That is the colonial way. So if they escape the regional level, then they would catch them at continental level as well. We are just reading that Africa, oh yeah.
There is a video I was looking for. I have not seen it. Yeah. I published the video day before yesterday. Ibrahim Traore was making a speech directly against Tinubu and West African president. He said they are telling him and his counterparts to come to democracy. And he was asking question. Your people are protesting. You are killing them. But our people protest here and we hug them. We talk together. That if killing people is the democracy you want us to come and join, that we don't need that kind of democracy. He was talking that, most of the West African countries are not practicing democracy, that they don't know the meaning of democracy. So Traore never ceased to amaze me. The interview was historic. It wasn't an interview, it was a speech he was giving to Burkinabés in a town hall meeting, something like that. I said, if the military leaders can be so close to their people like this, their people love them. Even when the people protest, a president will walk down from his office and come and talk to the people, and the people will hail him. What then is democracy, Mr. Clavis?
I said it in our previous video that democracy it's another name of colonialism. Democracy is another name.
Democracy is another name of colonialism.
That's it. So when we defend democracy, we are putting the rope. Basically, we are putting the rope around our own neck to kill ourselves. How can you defend a system that is not standing for your own values and for your own interest? That's the issue. If we are beaten in a democracy, if we are thrown in jail in a democracy, if we are being killed in a democracy, if our resources are being stolen in a democracy, so what is the difference between that and colonialism? Because during colonialism days, our forefathers, our parents, were beaten, They were thrown in jail. Resources were stolen as well. So there's no difference. There's no difference. The only difference is that the leadership has changed. It was white by then, now it's black. So for that matter, I keep saying that when you look at the African president, don't see him as a black person as yourself, but see the settler through him. There is, something through him. That person is behind him. He's the one who pushed him to the presidency. He's the one giving orders. And we can say that from the video of Mr. Lumumba, as he's saying that they cannot tell that to Chinese, they cannot tell that to whoever, but only to Africans. So it's easy to understand. It's only a master who can give orders, to his, you got it. I don't say slave, but all you know that in Africa, the only slaves we have in Africa are the presidents. Regular people are not slaves, because if they give us weapons, we'll fight to free our lands. If they give us guns, we'll fight to free our lands. So the only people who are slaves in Africa are African presidents, not the people, not the regular people. We have our eyes wide open. That's what we have to tell right here. Everyone watching, everyone listening. We're not stupid as Africans. The only stupid ones are African leaders. The presidents, to be specific.
But there are leaders who don't want that. Because those people you're calling are using those leaders. It will shock you. I was campaigning to be president of Nigeria. I'm going to tell my story around my book one. People are inviting you, oh, we want to see you in different capitals of the world. And you go there, people say to you, we're going to put in this amount of money in your campaign, but this is going to happen, that is going to happen. I say, wait a minute, you're talking about my country. You can't do that. Why are we going to be going to United Nations to complain or beg about what God has given to us? Our seas, our waters, our oceans are being occupied, and all the resources there are going to foreigners. Why are we not going to United Nations to complain about foreigners in our territory? But they have leaders who don't want that, because those people you're calling.
Yeah, Professor Clavis, I really want to take you back to what is going on in most African countries, in Cameroon, in part of the Africa, including Nigeria. Now, what are the roles of these new colonies in fighting indigenous people in Nigeria who want to secede, or in Africa who want to secede from the contraption the Britain created? Because secession in Africa is one of the greatest and most dangerous in the whole world. The Roman Empire divided into four. You have Italian, you have the French, you have the Portuguese, you have the Spanish. These were the Roman Empire. In Italy, you have the Vatican City, it's a separate country. You have San Marino, it's a separate country of its own. The Dutch countries, they were able to separate into Switzerland, Austria, Germany, Holland, Belgium, Luxembourg, and to name them, and what is it called? And so many other countries like that. The same thing in this Britain, they call them Great Britain. Whether they are great, I don't know. But in this Britain, we have the Wales, we have the Ireland, we have the Scotland, and we have the Britain. And in confederation, they are called the Great or United Kingdom. Yes, the United Kingdom. Now, why is it that in Africa, these people, they don't allow people to secede? If you talk about secession in Africa, like that of Biafra, that of the ones in Cameroon, the Oduduwas, so many people, they face resistance from the West. Why?
The sooner we'll understand that as Africans, the better. That our future is brighter if we opt for regionalism. If we opt for this kind of federalisms, but in the context of African values and cultures, the sooner we understand that, the better. Why? Because they created this country here, and they put some kind of, administration represented by the president. Now, this president alone is enough to be controlled for a country like Nigeria of 200 million people to be controlled. That's something that must really hurt us here.
I want you to repeat that statement. Repeat that statement, please. Repeat that statement.
I'm saying what it takes is just one man, the so-called president of the republic, to be controlled for a country of more than 200 million people to be controlled. That is too easy for the West. That is too easy for the colonists. So, they just give an order to Mr. Tinubu. Then Mr. Tinubu will execute that over 200 million people. And when you look at that in the way that it is the government doing that with people, we'll be blaming the fellow black man who's Mr. Tinubu. But me, in my eyes here as an Afro-Democrat, I don't see Mr. Tinubu as the author of all those kind of things going on in Nigeria. Before him, it was there. Before his predecessor, it was there. So if I blame Mr. Tinubu today, then I'm making some kind of mistakes. Even though he's the one there in power, he must take the blame on his shoulder. But if we go beyond that, we'll understand that it is not him, but it is the system. That's what I'm saying. He can walk out, he can step down, and the person coming after him will still not bring any change in the country. So it must be like that, because one man is enough to control 200 million people. So what we can say in Africa is we have about 1 billion of people in Africa. All it takes that 54 men, 54 presidents, 54 leaders in Africa to control 1 billion of Africans. That is way, that's an insult. I can put it that way. It's an insult. We are way many to be controlled by 54 people. 54. All it takes to control the whole country.
I want you to explain in details why you said that all that the Britain need to control Nigeria is just the president.
Of course. As we are saying, they created the Republic of Nigeria. The Republic must go with a certain country. Yet, I demonstrated that in my book that the country as such does not exist. Because for a country to exist, people must have common beliefs, politically, and they must have at least, a common social ground for us to call it a country. That's why we're talking about the Dutch here, whatsoever, they divided that, because before that, they realized that they didn't have a common values, so they have to split so that at least they can create what we call a country with people having common values and common political beliefs. That's it. So when it comes to the African context, we don't have countries as such. So when we say the Republic of Nigeria as a country, we are wrong. When we talk about defending democracy or coming back to a democratic regime in a country called Nigeria, we are wrong as well. When we talk about the Republican constitution of a country called Nigeria, we are still wrong. So I can say that Africans have been fighting the wrong battle all along. And that is why, decades ago, our fathers fought for, unemployment against all impoverishment whatsoever. Today, we are still doing the same thing. And we will go, this protest here, could end anytime soon, but that will not be the solution. Our children, they in Nigeria will still come back on the street to protest. So that's why I'm calling for the change of the political system. As long as we don't change the political system, we'll just be turning around the same situation. We'll just be turning around the same situation. The system in our countries, in Africa as a whole, that is the colonist will. It doesn't need him to be there. All it takes is one person that they will promote to the presidency. We don't vote, we don't elect. They will promote him there for a country of millions of people to be under the control of the colonists.
Clavis Johnson.
This is shocking.
Clavis.
So if we close the presidency as such, if we close the presidency, or if we just take that presidential entity out of our country, then that channel they were using to control millions of people will not be there anymore. So they will lose control over us. And if we take the presidency out, that is like changing the system, the political system. So we can opt for federalism or regionalism. By that way, they won't control us anymore. Because if we have about, I don't know how many states do we have there in Nigeria, but let me just say if we have about 20 states, all those 20 states under one president, then they are all controlled. So if the presidency, that entity is not there anymore, the 20 states will be independent, I can say. They will be autonomous. So for the colonies to control all of them, they have to go to each and every state. They have to go to each and every state. I'm telling you, there will be perhaps 1 out of 20 states that will accept to be controlled by the colonies, because all of them remaining will not allow that. Why? Because they are free. There will be no army beating them. There will be no police shooting at them when they're protesting. Why are they doing that? Because the orders are coming from the presidency. Why is the presidency giving those orders? Because the master of the presidency wants it to be that way. All those, pegged together, none of them must secede, the dream must be maintained as such. It's up to us to think about how is that possible? A country of 2 million people being controlled just by one entity, which is the presidential entity. What is it exactly? And who is it benefiting? That's it. The change of political regime is not the hope of the people. We have to change the system.
You said we have been fighting the wrong battles. Before I ask you a question, I really want to tell the viewers that if you really want to contribute to what we are saying, there is a WhatsApp number on the screen, a WhatsApp call only. You can call WhatsApp call only and let us know what you think about this, or if you have any question in regards to what my dear brother, Professor Clavis Johnson, is saying, you let us know about it. Now, Mr. Clavis, I want to ask you this question. It is the opposite of what you are saying. You said we have been fighting the wrong battles for long. So I want you to tell us what is the real battle that we ought to fight for.
Mr. Okocha, we've been fighting against the government. We've been calling for government change whatsoever. That is wrong, as I said it earlier. And when we do that, the colonists sitting in the corner just laughing. Oh, look at those Africans, they are trying to voice out. They are trying to do whatsoever, that's it. But the protest in an African country is not the same as in a European country. When they protest for a certain matter, they got the answer, and when it is settled, it's settled. It's not tomorrow that their children come back over the same matter protesting again. But when it comes to Africans, we protest for, today, and then a decade later, our children come and protest for the same issue. So we are fighting the wrong battle in the way that we're asking for the regime change instead of asking for the systematic change. That is what I'm trying to say.
Wait a minute. You said we are asking for regime change instead of systematic change.
Yeah.
I want you to explain that.
The Republican regime, the democratic, so-called democratic regime has been imposed on us in the will of controlling us. That is the extension of colonialism over us. So whenever we call for a regime change within the same system, we are doing nothing. All our efforts are multiplied by 0. It's just a matter of time. Otherwise, today people are protesting against hardship. But back then, the people protested as well. So you understand, it's not about the government, it's not about the regime, but it's about the system that has been established back then and that is following us until now. So if we really arrive to fight the right battle, the presidency, of course, we don't need that because that is what is representing the worst, I can say. That is what is representing the colonies in our countries. But we must stand calling for the systematic change. We need the change of the political system, not the change of the political regime.
Okay, then how do you think that we can change the presidency?
That's the thing, Mr. Okocha. The last time I was speaking here, I say, we can go, following legal ways, acting, within the law context. But I want to say that no freedom of expression is granted to us. We have no freedom of expression. We can talk about going on referendum whatsoever. We don't vote. We don't elect. The moment we accept going on referendum, then the colonists will be laughing. That is the strong point over there. That is the strong point. Look at what they're doing in Burkina Faso, in Mali. They are calling for the elections. Then you must ask why. Because that is their strong point. That's where they can control and put whoever will serve their interest. So whenever we accept going on a referendum, then we are making a huge mistake. because we
How?
cannot bring about change through referendums in our countries. How many times have you gone on referendums? Is there any change? No. How many times have you changed presidents? Is there any change? No. So
No,
it's
there
easy
is
for us to understand that.
there is difference between going to vote in an electoral system and referendum. A lot of people, 90% of Nigerians are yearning for referendum, including me myself.
Oh yeah,
So,
yeah.
So, are you trying to say that our referendum will not still be counted like the vote?
We can still stand for that, but Mr. Okocha, you know, my Black Brothers Day in Nigeria shouldn't take me in the wrong context. A referendum, you are expressing your voice. It's just the same as going to elect the president. Expressing your voice, expressing your will, deciding. It's the same thing. It's the democratic, you know, the democratic responsibility that we have to do. But still, I'm saying, when we go there doing that, we don't just get the result right away. There are people behind the machine trying to count the votes and whatsoever, and then after a while, they will come and present the result to the people. And when you try to protest in the streets, saying that, no, that's not a true reflection, they beat you up. So why is the army beating us up? Because it's the colonial army, but we call it national army. Why am I saying it's the colonial army? Because the presidency in the democracy, it's another structure, is another colonial structure. So whatsoever is under the presidency is colonial. The army is colonial. That's why they're beating us up. There's no difference the way they beat our forefathers, the way they're beating us up today, because the army is colonial. So that's it. So if we go on referendum, we can achieve something in a way that, okay, our voice have been heard, our voice are being expressed, but are we going to achieve something that is sustainable, that will help us today, will answer our needs and as well the needs of our children? Are we going to achieve that through this referendum they're talking about, through this referendum Mr. Tinubu is calling for? I don't think so. I don't think so.
So
right now,
how do we bring the change? How do we bring the change? How do we remove the presidency? How do we remove the system?
As I was saying, Mr. Okocha, oh my. Well, we can be educated, we can be intellectual, we can be all these kind of things, you know, trying to be within the law. But I'm saying the colonist was too smart. He was too smart. Okay, you can express your voice in a democratic way, whatsoever. But he knows that behind that is the one controlling the final decision. So if we go that way, we might end up failing. Chances are high. The probability is high that we'll fail. We still have someone leading us, not serving our interests, but serving the interests of foreigners. Now, in this case here, oh my, if really we're given the voice to express ourselves through voting whatsoever, I would say let's go for that. But I'm honest with myself saying that that is not given to us. Oh my. So as you are protesting, if there is a military there who's conscious about what is going on, let them come and give the people support. Let them support the people protesting instead of beating them up, instead of shooting at them. And when they will do that, let them take over. Not in the way to kill Mr. Tinubu. I'm not calling to kill anybody here. Not in the way to kill Mr. Tinubu. Not in the way to come there again to be a democratic leader. There's no democracy in Africa. But let them come there and bring the new political system that will drive the enemy out. Look, all it takes is just to change the political system. If they just change the political system, the colonist himself will be driven out beyond the borders, you know, far away from the seas of Nigeria. They'll be driven out because there'll be no one to take their orders anymore. There'll be no one to take the execution. Okay, go out there, send the military to go and beat them up. No, there'll be no one, you know. That's easy. We have to change the system, but to change the system, we need the support of the military. I'm not hiding it. We need the support of the military. If the West perhaps is scared of something from African leadership, it's when the military is taking over and they cannot control that military. The moment they cannot control that military in a leadership, in a position of leadership, that is what really borders the colonies. Let me put it out. So the military must give us that support. Protest alone will not be enough. The military must give us that support to change the political system in Nigeria. That's it.
Unfortunately, we are not seeing it.
200 million people.
Unfortunately, we are not seeing it.
Mr. Okocha, you know, what are you doing?
Let's have the corner first.
And give you support?
Yeah, let's have a corner first here.
Oh, great.
Hello, sir. Please, can you off your YouTube so that we can hear from you?
Yeah. Okay.
Off your YouTube so that we can hear from you.
I've been following you for quite a long time, my brother. You're doing a very great job. My name is Prince Azubike Ogweshi.
Okay.
I've been talking to you here. I am from Okwane.
Okay. Okay, but you are calling from France, I can see.
Yeah, I live in France. I live in Paris. So I've been listening to you and my brother from South Africa. He studied politics very well, and he's giving you a very good bridge how we can get out of this mess. What he's saying is exactly, but again, there is a step we have to take. What is that step? Get back to us of knowledge, who we are.
Okay.
Because not until we get that, until we get back to our self-knowledge. When I mean self-knowledge, I mean getting to know who we are first. Because we are doing everything wrong, brother. We are doing everything wrong. The white man will control us for the next 500 years, 5,000 years, if we don't change the system, according to my brother.
Okay.
There's no way. Do you know all food we eat in Africa is poisoned?
That is a strong word.
Yes.
Can you explain that?
We are eating is being controlled by them. Yes. I've been finding a way to talk to you a long time ago. I watch you every day, even for that is first time when I don't go out of line with you. But why I decided to come in now is that I know you are from my place, and I know we are very well, very good and courageous brother, which I need you and you need me. We are going to talk again after this program. But what my brother there from South Africa is telling you is the only option and the only solution to African problem. Every other thing we are joking.
All right. I want to ask you a question from what you said, sir.
Okay, sir.
How do you think we can get back to this our road? Because our brother here talking to us is the author of Afro-Democracy, the New African Order. And in Afro-Democracy, he talks about getting power back to the roots, where people who were controlling us before, people who were controlling us before the pre-colonial periods, we have the power and lead the people. So what do you think about that, or what is your own concept? Is it just exactly with what I'm explaining?
Yes, we are all together, but what I would just want to add to my brother there, who's been explaining to you, he doesn't want to make some mistake because he's a very intelligent person, is saying, look, we need the soldiers. We need the soldiers. We are not going to take them in that doctrine of their own democracy. No. We're going to bring them back to Africa. Introduce them back to who we are, our culture. You don't joke anyhow when it comes to culture, when it comes to our tradition, our gods. Before you're a military leader, before we accept you to go and stand for us or represent us and everything, you have to take a hold of honesty with our gods. And then you will not be sold out again. Now, if not, they will definitely sold out. We must go back to who we are. We must go back. We must. To be free, we must go back. We are eating the devil food every day. Every food you eat in Africa is a poison. I repeat it again.
What's that?
No doctor can challenge me in Africa. And I made it publicly in my Facebook. Any day you find any intelligent man than me, in the whole Okwane, I give you 10,000 euros. It's not possible, even in the next 1 million years. They don't know what is going on. We have been torn upside down, inside out, and thrown away. And now we are wandering and struggling. Even our president, they are all dumb. I'm telling you, I live in Paris. They know me. Tinubu knows me very well. I've written 3 letters to him to bring in investors from Russia to invest there, but they're asking me money before I can bring in my investor, bring in 3 billion euro into Delta State. First is constant electricity. Then second, followed by other things that I've strategized there. But Okocha fucked up. Okocha is a stupid idiot. I say it to him in his face anywhere, anytime. I don't care. They know me
you don't have to curse him. Ajay, sir, you don't have to curse him, okay?
None of them in that place, in that one, Yama can open their mouth. When I'm talking, they don't ponder well. I'm telling you the truth. I'm more intelligent than them, and I have my money. I never work for anybody. I am a hustler. I grew up in Russia. You know, put it very well. They are joking. Northern Nigeria is gone. Northern Nigeria is gone. That day, they signed with Burkina Faso. Northern Nigeria is gone. They are thinking of today. It's gone long ago. Go and check my Facebook. Is there. It's gone. They can never be Nigeria again. As far as Niger is being covered by Russia, forget it.
You mean that is the reason why they were waving Russian flag during the protest?
Of course. They are all the Kamuna again. Can I be here? They are calling your house to do it, sir. After warning you, they are coming to me now. So I have to protect you. I have to work with you. Me and you speak the same tongue. What are you saying? Blood is thicker than water. Forget that thing. Niger has taken over that place. They are just joking. The border is open for the northerners, but it's not open for you as Igbo man. If you go there, they arrest you.
I will not doubt what you are saying because I understand that during the 2014-2015 presidential election, that so many people from Niger came to Nigeria to vote for Buhari.
No, Buhari mother from Niger.
Oh God! Seriously?
All you people are just wasting your time now. That side is gone. That side is gone. My wife. I have 2 wives from Russia. I'm not joking.
Sir,
I've been in Russia for 35 years.
What step are we going to take, sir? What step are we going to take to
the same step this brother is talking? We must change the system and go back to who we are. Then we need the military. The military now is not going to be going to president to take any order. No, it's going to go to the priest of the shrine. There you see the truth.
Okay, you mean the president should go to the shrine?
If you go to the anywhere he comes from, you should go and take oath of honesty before he can come to represent us anywhere. Governor, anything you want to put him, any position, he must go through that process. Go through that road. If he goes through that road, then he will be scared of his life and his family, and he will not be able to do anything against the land. Then we need to re-educate our people to get them self-knowledge. Can you imagine 99% of our leaders in Africa are dumb and stupid?
Yes.
It is so. This is so sad anyway. It's so sad.
There's no intelligent guy in Africa. I repeat it again. Bring one out. If you can answer any of my questions, I will hang myself. None. I met Paul Kajema in Dubai 2017. After meeting him, he trained 6,000 churches. He closed them down in his own place. We are still there shouting hallelujah in Nigeria. What is hallelujah? Those are all their instrument of only you. Christianity, religion is the first instrument they use to tie us down, remove our culture, remove our tradition. They give us Christianity. Finish. We are finished. Not until we close down all churches, change everything according to my brother. Then we come back to who we are. You will start honesty in our place. You remember in the ancient time, you can go to somebody's shop, it's not there, you want to buy something, pick what you want to buy, put the amount and leave there. Do you remember 1970?
I was not born then. I'm just a boy.
Okay, you are not born then. Okay. Yeah. The people who were born then knows what I'm talking. You cannot move from Idumesa to Isiligu and my places. You don't see tree of mangoes, fruits lying down on the road, pluck and eat, and people take and hang on the road for those who don't have. Today, where do you see it?
It's so unfortunate. It's so unfortunate.
Tinubu, he knows what he's doing. He has given, you know why the Northerners must go? Because he sold them out. The Northerners refused him to bomb, they refused him to bomb during ECOWAS, Then he came to France here. I was in France here. They agree with France to do this, what they are doing now. They want to make that northern region a Sahel for terrorists. Then the Northerners got the information and decided to join Burkina Faso and the rest. Whether they like it or not, these people have joined already. Next year, what are the game that is going to play? This on record. What are the game they are going to play then? I'm a Russian man. People call me Russian. I have 100% Russian information. Anything before it happened in America, America doesn't know anything. Before America doesn't know anything, Russia has known it. I can tell you that. People think America is so powerful. No, the superpower is Russia. People don't. And for the next 100 years, no country is going to subdue Russia for the next 100 years. Agreed and accepted. Everything happened now is designed. The war in Ukraine is designed. The war coming to Nigeria is designed. War is coming to Nigeria, whether they like it or not. Why?
Why will it come? Why can't us do this in peace?
We cannot. It is not in our power now. Because what? Those lobbyists, they suck blood. I'll send you my picture in UNESCO in Paris, where they created everything you are doing today. The Artificial Intelligence Center is in Paris, UNESCO Paris, France. You don't know anything about natural intelligence. That's why you go to hospital. You see doctors, you see all of them, they don't care anything really well. They say they are doctors with degree. They are ignorant of who they are. They don't even know the proper food to eat to gather the proper nutrition in their body. I tell them doctors, they're wrong. I tell them pastors, they're wrong. Because no doctor anywhere in the world has ever cured any disease for the past 500 years. I put 10,000 euros now. If you show me anyone, I give it to you. None, brother. I don't speak anyhow. From Otagono.
This is interesting. Thank you so much, sir, for your.
Okay, my brother. Yeah. So what my brother is saying, I support him, and we can work it out. Through our traditional means, a different dimension. You know the map you are looking at today, African map is turned upside down. That's not the legal way. You fly to America for 11 hours instead of you flying for 4 hours. People. They finish us. Ask the Europeans, they finish us. They finish us. All these things, I'm a researcher. I don't talk anyhow. If you go to my page, you see everything. Azubike Chichine, go and look at it in Facebook. It's my page. I post your video every time. You see your videos there.
Wow, I will go and look for it. What is the name again?
Azubike Chichine.
Okay, Azubike Chichine. Anyway, I will write you. I will write you on WhatsApp.
Write it down. And this is my number. You can keep it because this number. Later you will tell me yes, and because if they make Anyama state today, I'm going to be the first governor. Nobody can be the governor there. No one is intelligent than me there. Anybody come, let's sit down and talk. It's not about I'm not going to talk about economy. I'm going to talk about creating wealth. What are you talking? You don't come and give you idea of economy because it has nothing. You have wealth and you are following on in its economy. How do you think you're going to pass? Just like what my brother is saying, you're working on their diagram. How can you escape the route they clear for you? No, you cannot. See? So you must change the dimension. Must. We're going to be creating wealth, not managing economy. No, that's stupidity. When you have all resources, you create wealth. You don't manage economy. When you don't have is where you manage economy. Like Europe, they plant only 6 months, and the rest 6 months, they have nothing.
All right, sir. Thank you so much, sir, for your contribution. And one day, I wish one day I can invite you. Yeah, I wish one day I can invite you to this.
Look, what I will say in your channel, people know me, Nnamdi Kanu knows me very well. All of them know me now. They know me. I don't come out anyhow. If I come out, I blow off everywhere. Only of you above, all of them, I get their secret for hand. They are nobody, they are political king. None of them is a real king. I say it on TV. They know me very well. None of them. They are all political chihuahua. Let's go back to the history. I'm a good historian. I can tell their history more than them. More than them. Who are we? They don't know who we are. If they're eating shit in their mouth every day, how can you be telling me intelligent when you don't know who you are? Show me one intelligent man in Nigeria there. All of them are eating shit. You eat nama, eat pomo leather for making shit within your mouth. What kind of nutrition value do you get from meat? Tell me. Somebody tell me, yes, but the doctor said you have to eat meat to get protein. I said, you are eating to get protein. Cut is protein from the grass, and you are eating the goat to get the protein. Are you not stupid? Come on, brother. You are meeting the hero. Don't worry.
Thank you so much.
So that is it, brother.
Thank
I
you
have
so
to go
much.
out, yeah.
All right.
I love you, brother, and I've been following you for quite a long time.
Thank you so much.
So that is it. Thank you very much, brother, for giving me the opportunity.
Thank you so much.
Follow this, my brother, because I know much about him than him himself. This is who we need. We need this type of them 20 in Nigeria, and everything will change.
All right, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
Okay. Thank you very much, sir.
But they have leaders who don't want that. Because those people you're calling are using those leaders. It will shock you. I was campaigning to be president of Nigeria. I'm going to tell my story around my book one. People are inviting you, oh, we want to see you in different capitals of the world. And you go there, people say to you, we're going to put in this amount of money in your campaign, but this is going to happen, that is going to happen. I said, wait a minute, you're talking about my country. You can't do that. Where are we going to?
So, Mr. Clavis, thank you so much for this wonderful broadcast today. And we really get your point. And this last caller, he said he understands everything you are saying, that he even understands you more than yourself. And he went on to support so many of your facts. Anyway, thank you for the solution you proffered, that the political regime change is not the hope of the people, but that we've got to change the system. So I think as time goes on, we'll be able to talk more on changing the system. So thank you so much. So in 1 or 2 minutes, you can summarize your last words for this broadcast before we call it a day.
As an African brother, as I keep saying, anything happening in Nigeria, all the hardship, those are black people like myself, so it's hurting everyone. Anything happening in Congo, in Sudan, it's in Mali, it's hurting everyone. So all I wish to ourselves as Africans is to stand together and try to work out, something more sustainable than just calling for regime change. Because in history, we knew so many regime changes, but we are still crying today. So we need to change the system, the political system, and that's what Afro democracy is all about. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Clavis. Mr. Clavis Johnson is a professor of mathematics, the author of Afro Democracy, the New African Order. And as time goes on, a lot of his book will be coming out as well. He's one of the people who believe that we must go back to our roots before we can solve our problem. That politics, as we see it today, democracy cannot solve our problem, just like what the former president of Obasanjo said. So, Clavis Johnson, thanks for coming to talk to us today. We hope to see you another time. Thank you so much.
We'll elect our governors. We'll have our ministers. That will happen, but they are not bothered. After we have elected them, you'll then see them sending their arrows ahead. You'll see Bill Gates come and meet your president. You'll see Tony Blair come and meet your president. You'll see Macron come and meet your president. You'll see all of them. And then they will never admit, but they'll be told, if you want money in agriculture, behave this way. If you want money in this area, behave this way. They will never tell that to the Chinese. They will never tell that to the Indians. They will never tell that to the Vietnamese. They will never tell that to the Koreans, but in Africa, they tell us. That is why, as I speak to you now, under this new scramble, the IMF and the World Bank are back, telling you who to hire in your universities, what to sell and what not to sell. It is a sad situation. So today, as I look at Africa in that new scramble, the Chinese are here. I hope that this institution was not built by the Chinese. The Turks are here. The British are here. The French are here. The Qataris are here. The Americans are here. This time round, they are so subtle that we don't even recognize them, but they control us. What are we going to do about it in order to develop? We must do something. And if we don't do that thing else, you who have been trained in this institution, you have traveled the world. You have traveled Nigeria. There are two things that you can do with your traveling. You can marvel. Says it is great in China. You can marvel. You can wonder or feel pain. I'm urging you to feel pain. To feel pain for the continent of Africa, and in your own way, when you go out there, go and do something about it, because it has also been demonstrated that it can be done. I've traveled across this continent and I've seen that development is possible. And I'm saying this, part of my agenda is to prick your conscience with live examples, that you may go out there irritated, but irritated to do the right thing. And I'm suggesting that indeed, when we talk about development, this is what we must do. But is Africa conscious of her state? Yes, Africa is conscious. This is what makes me happy. That after all these analysis, it appears to me that Africans have now recognized that going forward, we can only defeat the conspiracies, we can only have development as we are talking about it by working as a team. Africa must begin to think, even as we think of Africa Agenda 2063, because energy is the game changer. Without energy, all these generators you see everywhere in Nigeria must disappear for industrialization to come. And in many African countries, including my own country, Kenya,